What about now? Is there any sound? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. Is there lag between the audio and the video? Because that's what I'm seeing on my screen. Put an L for lag. So I'm going to assume the yeses are for the first question. Can you drop an L if it's laggy? There is lag. All right. Thank you. All right. So I know how to solve that, but it's going to take me a quick second. I wanted to. All right. I know why. Well, I don't know why. There's something going on with this this camera. It's blurry too? Jesus. All right, because my internet signals, everything is going haywire at the exact same time. So I've got one bar. It just went to 2. Yeah, so this is just a bad. Might not be the day. Give me a second. Uno momento. Well, yeah, I was trying to do something through OBS. I wanted to try out OBS for a reason, but I don't know, is Derek Jackson's fault? For sure. Give me a quick minute. It'll give me about 2 minutes to change setups. 2 minutes to change their computers real quick, because I know the other one's working. now you should be able to hear me. Oh my God. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. Oh God, I cannot get the audio visual stuff right to save my life, y'all. Cannot. Struggle streaming for sure, Wally. Now my lights ain't coming on. Wow. This how we doing? Okay. We about to have one of them days. We're about to have one of those days. Okay. Understood. I get it. There we go. Something. Good Lord. Let's change this. Give me a second, y'all. I just need some. This is ridiculous. Why? What's that? So that's the bottom. Bottom's on blue. That'll work. All right, y'all. What is thank you. We good now. Yeah. What's up, Wally? Oh God. And I ain't been home but for like 20-30 minutes, man. I was trying to rush. That's why everything was unsettled, because I was unsettled. I didn't take the time to try to. I was running late. There was an unexpected event today, so it kind of threw my timing off. But we here now. Yellow. I might slip into that patriarchy stuff. I really might, because I'm slightly annoyed. But what up, Brody? What up, Brie? Yeah, StreamYard is set to 720. It does default to 480 sometimes, but right now it's at 720 because I'm not paying for the I'm not paying an additional $25 something for 1080. I'm not that pretty, and it is Derek Jackson's fault. Yeah, them extra pixels. If I was a little bit prettier, I'd go ahead and pay for it. It's cool. That's what's up, man. So how's y'all's day? How was your day going? Cause man, the patriarchy got me down, y'all. The patriarchy got me down. That's not what I'm here to talk about. What did I even name this? Okay, there we go. I did not get my stuff settled, so we're kind of going to be flying by the seat of our pants today. I do need something to show my YouTube. I need YouTube up. Give me a second. In case I need to moderate. There we go. Cool. All right, I see everybody there. Good. All right, yes, and this is only on YouTube. I was trying to do something, and it worked last night, but I wasn't streaming. Give me a second. All right. I think I'm ready. I said, how y'all doing today? Ain't nobody respond to that. Forget y'all. Y'all want pleasantries? That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I get y'all. I see how y'all been. Y'all some rude and disrespectful ninjas. I already see how this is going. Y'all them people. So, I don't care how your day's going anymore. I did. Now I don't. Patriarchy. You just starting the day on your end? That's what's up. What you got going on, man? I know they said you got a new computer. When you getting back to streaming, man? When you getting back to streaming? Are you cutting up VODs? Are you doing VOD? And yeah, don't give me that face. Don't give me that face. Don't give me that face. But listen, I want to always kind of show some, what do you want to call that? Respect, reciprocity, something. I know there's a word for it. But to the people that show love for me, I want to show love back. So today, we're going to be talking about the imitation of life. Bree calls it hyperrealism. Hyperrealism. The imitation of life. And this stream is, I guess, it's not sponsored by. Critically Drinking is sponsored by Nova, essentially. But today's episode is brought to you by SimSima. Thank you for the shout out, SimSima. Thank you for the love and the cash app. So definitely doing a stream for you. Also got one in the pipeline for 2 chopsticks. We're going to chop it up for two chopsticks. And we got to get candy for Candid Ann. Because anybody that's, I'm getting cash, anybody that's donating to the streams is going to get me right back. I'm going to come right back before the people to respect what anything y'all give to me. I got to give it back. Give it back in time, give it back in attention, give it back in energy. Time will tell, but working to get stuff on his desktop. That's what's up. That's what I should have done before I tried what I tried when I started the stream. I should have taken the time to get myself set up on the laptop, but I was trying to rush to use the new PC, but everything's not set up, calibrated. I don't even know what I'm doing with some of those apps. They're brand new to me. I had a nice little cool feature that was working last night, but it wasn't live streaming. So, of course, I'll probably have to get with some of the technical people to get it down pat. But when I get it down pat, oh man, we bringing Twitch to YouTube. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's going to work. I saw it. I saw it. How you going to spell that? It's not S-A-W. But anyway, today, y'all, the imitation of life. What I've been noticing is that a lot of us, not just these panel conversations, people keep saying it's just the internet, man, but I'm seeing this in real life. Social media is conditioning us. We are going through social engineering. The people we see in our day-to-day life are becoming more and more caricaturized. They're becoming more and more exaggerated, more and more extreme. So it's pushing people out of the realm of an accepted reality. I don't want to use too much terminology, but there's another term that might fit would be like level setting or price anchoring. Our values are like a price value. So because we're adopting values from online that are wild, all over the place, coming from different places, different people, different cultures, different religions, we're just grabbing up every value we can and trying to take it on and put it on our life where it doesn't fit. But the point is we have to develop our own standard. I talk about the same stuff a lot. Our own standard. What up, Big Rig Slaps? How you feeling, Brody? We got to develop our own values. We have to anchor somewhere. We have to put a line that we're not going to cross somewhere. Because if we're going to keep getting our values from celebrities, from people on the internet, we're going to keep having these same problems. Just like, I'll show you what I mean. Like with something we hear in the racial dynamic, the conservative, liberal, black, white, everybody will bring up, well, what about black on black crime? And everybody will talk about, well, that's a function of poverty. But then the accurate and fair rebuttal is there's poverty all over the world. You don't have the same level of crime everywhere around the world, though. So then, well, what is it? Where does this crime come from if it's not really tied to poverty? What it's tied to, though, is inequity. Because if I have to live by you with all of this stuff, and it's amazing, and you've got all these toys and all these gadgets, but I have nothing, and I have to see you constantly, it's going to breed jealousy and envy. What the Bible people call it covetousness. I'm going to want what you have. So apply that to social media. I'm going to want what I'm constantly seeing. which is why in the Discord they were talking about the IG baddies. If I'm constantly feeding myself IG baddie eye candy, I'm going to want that. There's no way around that. If I'm seeing it, if it's accessible to me, if that's what's around me, if that's what's in my eye space, that's what I'm consuming, I'm going to want that. So we're shifting our values. We're not cognizant, we're not paying attention to it, but we are. So then everybody sees what we value because what we do goes in line with those values. Shout out. So we were talking about Derek Jackson. You can say that you're God-fearing. You can say that you don't believe in all that. Was it men shouldn't cheat? They shouldn't be exercising options. You can say all that. You can preach all day long on your own platform. Build a 1 million person following off that kind of content. But what you're doing shows us what you value. Like that's the kind of stuff we're doing. We're tricking ourselves. It just got crystal clear. It was blurry that whole time, even after I switched. All right. I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit for the day. Today just might not be the day. Maybe today's not the day. Maybe today's not the day. Reported Nova. Hey, man, listen. I had something for you. It was causing my system to lag. It did not work. But I will get it to work. Thank you for swinging by. And I don't want to tell you. I want to show you. I gotta make it. I gotta make it work. Can somebody turn the stream off just for a moment? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I almost left. I was just gonna leave. Oh, time me out. I will time myself out. You know that. I will time myself out so quick. Okay, I'm back. It's amazing now. Amazing. Listen. Listen. I can't stand you, man. I can't stand you. Now listen. Back to what I was saying. We have forgotten some very old wisdom. We've forgotten how lives were. I don't know why. I don't know how. Honestly, it's weird to me. Maybe it's because I'm older. Hey, John Harden. Hey, welcome. You saw me. Hey, thank you. Thank you. I definitely try to understand his point of view and share mine. I get what he's saying. I just don't think it's practical for the day-to-day. Similarly, we've been having a conversation on Yellas and in the Discord recently about the patriarchy. I also think that language is similarly unhelpful. I think they're actually describing the same thing or different aspects of the same thing. And we don't have a good grasp on what it is. So it's actually not useful for the conversations that we're having. Patriarchy, white supremacy, I think that language in a weird way needs to be retired or tweaked because, man, social media is showing me that we don't understand a lot of the words we use or what they're meant to. I don't know. But thank you, Don Harden. Thank you. I'm just frustrated seeing some of these conversations devolve into nothingness. We spend so many hours, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours talking, but not really communicating, not really understanding each other, not even trying to understand each other. That's what really gets to me. But what I was saying though, YouTube has clips. Oh, you're clipping me? Okay. I get it. I got something for that. Yeah. I got something for that. Yeah. Hot timeouts in here. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Whew, that was fun. That was messed up, but that was fun. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all being here. Thank y'all for coming. Man, just a casual conversation about something I've been noticing. So I've been noticing in real life. It's not. This doesn't stop. This doesn't stop at the log off screen. It doesn't stop at the red X. It doesn't stop when you hit the home screen on your phone. People take these ideas, these things that they're saying, and they take them out to their real lives. They take these things. Why Nova blocked? He got timed out. He got timed out. That's all. Conversations dissolve into nothingness. Yeah. And yeah, I'm serious. Oh, Anaya. Yes, these conversations have been dissolving into nothingness. And one thing I said a long time ago, before I switched over to Twitch, I said I never want to be noise. I never want to be noise. I never want to be something else that's just filler to the background of people's lives as they go on their day to day. I don't need to be here for that. There are ample voices out here that are okay, just dissolving into nothingness. If the conversations are not evolving and growing upon principles and ideas, I don't want to do it. I won't. Honestly, I won't. So I know me personally, I'm getting frustrated with that. Like it feels like it's a lot of nothingness. A lot of it feels like there's something there's an old saying or a proverb, a verse from the Bible about something the word doesn't return void, but all of our conversation does. Yes, I think. And Dawn, here's my thing. I think communication and conversation is where we need to start because it's one of the things we can most easily work on. It's our communication. Unfortunately, we have a large swath of people who believe that communication means me telling you something. I'm going to tell you how I feel. That's communication. But if you're never investigating or receiving what the other person feels, you're transmitting. That's a lot of you're transmitting, you're broadcasting. But you're not really having a conversation. You're not effectively communicating. It's like speaking into the void, talking to a wall. If the other person doesn't understand you or you don't understand them, we actually lose. We actually lose the point. We lose the intention. So we're wasting a lot of words. So when we had that thing about patriarchy, I'm like, man, okay, we're wasting a lot of words. And when it was like, oh my Wale, we're wasting a lot of things talking about like white supremacy. There's a layer before you get to that big thing. There's a more immediate conversation we need to have. And even actually before relationship, there needs to be a conversation of self. How do I relate to myself? And people may not accept that because we actually are more interested in finding out how to get somebody else to like agree with us. I want you to relate to me. I don't want to be in a relationship. I just want you to relate to me. I want what's that? Not an attachment. What's that thing like? What we get the poodles? You know, you get the carry-ons, the poodles and the carry-ons. Like it's an accessory. We want to wear people as accessories. We're accessorizing people. They have no real value, no long-lasting value, which is why we can throw them away so easily. I think conversations are hearing each other's perspective and coming to a middle ground, agreement-wise. And my thing is, even if you can't come, because sometimes you can have a conversation with somebody that you cannot come to a middle ground with because of where they stand. I'm okay with that. But I do believe in hearing the other person's perspective and trying to understand it. If you're not trying to understand the other side, well, we're going to run into a problem. And I think we get a lot of that by getting lost in some of the social media-ness that is becoming pervasive in life. I would bet you, and I didn't think this through, but I would bet you some of the behaviors that we're adopting online are following or creating real life patterns. Like maybe even how we go from app to app to app for constant stimuli is the way we go from one conversation to conversation to conversation to relationship to relationship, like that monkey branching effect. Because we can't spend a moment alone with our own thoughts. That's the conversation we're afraid to have. what we're trying to say to ourselves. The part of ourselves is trying to speak to us about how unhappy we are, or how we didn't realize something, or how we haven't come to terms. That part of us that we're not developing, that we're not having that conversation. We're running from it and running to have a conversation with everybody else, myself included. I'll never remove myself from anything I'm saying. I'm never trying to preach. It's just I'm trying to understand. So we're social conditioning ourselves. In the same way we click out of an app when we're not getting what we want, we click out of these relationships. We graduate. We graduate so quick. We graduate so fast. The curriculum is over before you know it. These years fly by. But I think we need to have the conversation with ourselves to be able to anchor some set of values and standards. I'm not trying to use the word traditional intentionally, but there were some values that people try to get across that we kind of tiptoe around. I know one of them comes from capitalism. Everybody right now, they say they want people willing to do the work, but we've created a culture. We've created a culture of things that are trying to make everything easier. Everything's more convenient, trying to make things cheaper. Well, we want our relationships to be the same way now. We want our relationships convenient. We want our relationships cheap. We don't want to put in any effort. We want to retire early, financially independent, retire early. We want everything the same way we want. We want everything the exact same way. And it's impeding, it's hampering our ability to relate to each other. Like I said, to the conversation we even had last night. Well, not we had last night. I was watching on Yellow Stream about the patriarchy. One party will always try to dictate the terms of the conversation. That's not a conversation. That's a problem. That's more of the same. That's more of the social media. I'm on the app. I get what I want out of it, and it responds to me. There's an us here. There are two people trying to have a conversation. Can we share the space or not? Because if we can't share the space in conversation, there's no conversation to be had. That's what I'm saying about there's no middle ground to somebody that doesn't give you any ground to stand on. And that, again, I believe a lot of this comes from the way we use social media. So now we're imitating a life. We're not being. Yella said it good. There was something about the word being. I wish I had written that note down. But we're not allowing people to be. They're accessories. They're apps. We're swiping in and off. We're swiping on and off people. We're just swiping people away. Won't even hear them out. They're people. It's again, like a screen, man. It's dehumanizing. It takes away how hard it is to connect. So then you have people saying crazy things, talking about how easy. No, it's not easy. It's never been easy. It's never been easy to relate to people. And the fact that we want to make it easy is a function of because we make everything else easy. It's easy to order stuff. It's easy to get into debt. It's easy to apply for this. It's easy to do that. Everything's so easy. No, life's not easy. Relationships are not easy. Everything should not be easy. If everything should be easy, what's worth working for? What are you willing to work for? Everything can't be swiped. Everything can't be a button press. Your whole relationship with a man or a woman cannot be a couple clicks away. That can't be it. And at the exact same time, we want everything as easy as our applications on our phones. The same thing, we want everything to operate as smoothly and as intuitively as these devices. We're also being swayed by the narratives, by the conversations. We're adopting those speech patterns that don't serve us, that don't bring us closer together. And then asking somebody else to adopt those same speech patterns that don't help us, that don't bring us closer together. Why? I'm not sure why we're so religiously stuck to our favorite talking point. And I'll say this: if you don't understand the concept that you're talking about well enough to explain it in different language, then you really don't understand the concept. So we got to let go of it. Let go of it if it's not. Let go of it if it's religious. Let go of it if it's political, if it's philosophical. However you learned it, if that's the only way you can speak it, then you don't understand it. Life is not easy. And if it's not easy for me, it's definitely not easy to bring you, which is another me, into my life. Because you have a different existence that you've had to learn that was also not easy. So to incorporate those two not easies together, you're not going to get easy. It's never going to be easy. And when people keep saying it, it offends me a little bit. Y'all making it hard. Y'all making it hard. No, it was made hard. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be a challenge for you to figure yourself out. And it's supposed to be a challenge for you to have to figure somebody else out. Why would you want it easy? What have you ever respected that you got easy? Why do you want a person that way? If you got it easy, it's going to be easy to throw away too. Quit looking for easy. Nobody's making it hard. Life made it hard. And if you're not willing to work to try to understand and do better, maybe you're in the wrong spaces. Maybe you're not trying. Maybe you're the problem. I don't know. Again, I'm ranting. It's religious thinking, for sure. To change your thought process is considered black. Absolutely. And what I'm hearing is that if you're not what I hear from people who are unwilling to investigate one side, like let's say somebody's talking to me, they'll tell me I have to investigate their side, but they never step to investigate mine. That's one-sided. That's not a relationship. Not the one that people are looking for. People are looking for reciprocity. Does expertise in a subject require that we can discuss it from multiple angles or use different vocabularies to fit an audience? Or can you just regurgitate? No. You can't just regurgitate it. Otherwise, that makes Google an expert at everything. Alexa's an expert at everything. Recitation has never been the hallmark. Otherwise, everybody can be everything because everybody can memorize. Everybody can memorize. That means everybody can be Kevin Samuels. Everybody can do what Kevin Samuels did just by repeating what he said. We've seen that to not be true. And y'all called them struggle Kevins. Because there's some things you can't replicate. Not easily. But we want everything to come easy. Life's not easy. Living with another human being long term is difficult. If you want that to come easy, you're not. It's not just relationships that are hard to maintain either. I know we talk about relationships a lot, but anything worthwhile, raising your children, that's not easy. And it takes a long time. Your career, that's not easy. Your life, that's not easy. Nothing came easy. Your understanding of yourself, it didn't come easy. Most people don't even understand themselves. Haven't even taken the steps to start because they don't know where to start. Personal finance, getting that under control, that's not easy. Being disciplined in your body, your physical, and your diet, that's not easy. How much information is there that's contradicting each other? We were just on the stream where somebody was telling me about Dr. Sebi and Kansas, and they were telling me some crazy stuff. Some of the stuff didn't even make sense. But anybody could fall victim to the influence of the things they find in social media because it sounds good or it sounds easy. Because that's where we're self-interested and we want the path of least resistance. We want it easy, but we got to fight that off. And we got to fight through that. That's a lie. But they say a trick of the enemy, that's what that is. There are plagiarism. You see that on YouTube a lot. Everyone copying each other's talking points. Struggle baby Kevin. Oh, you'd have added baby to it. I would say, man, everybody needs to start to look for examples. Examples, positive examples from your real life, not social media. Something that you can spend time around to see how it actually moves like in real life. Because basing our our milestones, our guide stones, basing our examples from people online, celebrities, social media influencers, it's not good because they're projecting a best image of themselves that is really far from what the reality is, which is why over time you end up seeing these relationships fail too, because it's hard. These are supposed to be like the best and the brightest. They're successful, right? No, they're people, they're humans. And until we tap into each other and realize each other's humanity, we're always going to struggle. Part of the humanity is understanding it's not going to be easy. And if you need it to be easy, you don't need to deal with people. Walk away. Leave people alone. Interesting little thought experiment. But if there's someone with a Rain Man type memory and someone that communicates perfectly for him, which one is the expert, or both? There was a similar thought experiment. There were 3 rooms, like room A attached to room B. Room B was attached to both room A and C. Sequential. Somebody in room A would pass a note to somebody in room B, who would translate it and give it to the person in room C. The person in room B, all they did was translate it. But the person in room C, who did they fall in love with? Like, they fell in love over time. So did they fall in love with the message, the person who wrote the message, or the person that interpreted the message? So yeah, the problem is somebody with a great memory is just reciting. They're not an expert. And someone that communicates it perfectly for them is a communicator, an orator. They're not an expert either. But if you have the knowledge, if you have the understanding is what makes the expertise. Not recitation, not communication. Because you may understand it. You may be able to implement it. You may be able to practice it, but maybe you have no form. Maybe you don't even have a jaw. You're like, what's that dude? Thunderbolt or Black Bolt. You can't speak at all, but you have the understanding. It's the understanding that makes you the expert. The problem is that expertise, if you can't practice it or communicate it, then it becomes useless. But then I think it becomes like knowledge. Sometimes groupthink produces genius because of that balance, but other groupthink is counterproductive. Absolutely. It needs to be a refinement. That's what when I came to the internet, that's what I actually thought this place would be. I thought it would be people, and we would gradually refine our thought processes by bouncing the ideas off of each other. The good ideas would stick, and we would start to eliminate the bad ideas. That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is everybody has their religious hold to their ideas that they came with, and they're not willing to move. They may be willing to let you speak, but they're not really willing to listen while you're speaking. Now, from the person that's running the panel, I understand it is very difficult to run a panel and listen to everybody at the same time because you're checking notes, doing little things in the system. I've learned that. But if you pay attention, most times when people are speaking, when you have a panel, when somebody's speaking, watch everybody else instead of the person speaking. You'll see people start getting in their phones. You'll see people get off screen. They're tapping out of the conversation altogether because they're not even listening. Not even listening. A movie character. Yep. My bad, bro. Just came back. Repeat everything. What did I miss? All right, bro. I'm talking about everything is tied back to that. The way we use social media is the way we're trying to use people. The way we want our apps to be intuitive and easy to use and just as easy to delete from our phones if we no longer like it. That's the same way we want our people. We want them easy. We want them intuitive. We want them useful. We want them cheap and free. We also want our apps free. We're not about apps. We're about apps. We're turning people into apps. So that's what you miss. That's what I just said. I guess that's why two people with incomplete understandings can create a fuller one together. If they have the intention over. Because if me and you have an intent to try to get a better understanding, I'm going to be willing to listen to your part to try to match with my part. It's not what we're doing. JP is in the building. What's up, JP? What's up, JP? I felt the same. More refining. But I found that there are more people coming on at level 0 than level 10 looking to refine. And that's cool. The other problem is a lack of knowledge of self, because if you don't know that you're at level 0, but you're on level 10, then you have another problem. Because you think you're somewhere you're not. Streaming do be hard. What's up, Quantum? How you feeling? Nope, it hasn't. That's why 2023 must be better. If not, I'm going to eliminate all my social media forever. And hey, listen, Anaya, it's a problem. Yeah. You can become an expert on music theory. However, if you never play an instrument, you will not understand music. Absolutely. Absolutely. Or you can learn to read sheet music. You can learn to read music. You can learn that you can do it yourself. You can compose things, like maybe you learn the values or something. But again, like you said, if you have no understanding of how it applies, if you can't apply the knowledge, you don't have an understanding. If you can't apply the knowledge is one thing, but if you can't apply it, it's hard to understand it. That's why we get lost in some of these conversations, because we'll have a knowledge. It might be white supremacy or it might be patriarchy. We'll have a knowledge, but we don't know how it's applied. How does that apply today? When I ask you, how does that apply right now? If you can't answer that, you don't have an understanding. And that's what I'm saying. That's the understanding we lack. We'll use a lot of knowledge-based thinking. I read this in a book. Yeah, books are great. You can get a lot of knowledge from a book. It may not help you to understand. There's no one thing that's enough. Intent isn't enough. If you have the intent, you still need to have the capacity. Yeah. And there is no specific destination. Like you're saying, don't create full answers. No, you create fuller answers. Like what everybody says about two people getting together, right? I get with you, I bring my 100% and you bring your 100%, and where there is no perfect union. There is just a union that you start to perfect. So you two people bring your incompleteness. You don't create a full answer, but you have a fuller answer than the one you had before. You have more, but two heads are better than one, but then it's not two heads are perfect. It's just the more information you have, you can start to form a more rounded look, a more rounded perspective. That's all it is more. The quality of it is determined by the quality of the people, the quality of the perspectives. If they're incomplete in the same ways, and they really don't offer much to each other. Diversity of thought. I say the same thing. Diversity of problems, diversity of solutions. Applied knowledge is wisdom, absolutely. Yeah, Yella, people do want the convenience. So how can things become better? Do you think it will? Do you think it will? Do I think it can? The intent. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got to embrace the intent. First thing I want to say is that we got to know that there's a problem. I don't think a lot of us even understand that there's a problem, that we're starting to appify people, that we're starting to social mediafy people, that we're turning them into ones and zeros, that we're the other word, that's a trigger word I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to use language that's different than the terminology that already triggers people, that already triggers a bias. The word that's commonly accepted would be objectifying. But I know that sounds a way that is used a lot in certain circles, and people tune out when they hear it. But we're actually dehumanizing people. We're subconsciously stripping them of their humanity. They're a thing. They're something to be utilized. They're an accessory. If we understand our intent, if we purify our intent, we can do better. I think we can. But the first step in fixing the problem is admitting there's a problem. And most people are so religiously stuck to their perspective being the only perspective. You know, me and Bree talked about naive realism. So people are so stuck that their perspective is the only perspective, that they're unwilling to consider that there might be a problem that their worldview can't recognize. If I didn't see it, it couldn't be a problem because I would have seen. If it was a problem, I would have seen it. That's that. What's that called? I want to say like toxic optimism in a different perspective. It's like we see this sometimes in we see it in men. Like, let's say when you always talk about the joke about men and directions. Well, I'll figure it out. Well, if you would have figured it out, we wouldn't be lost in needing to ask for directions. So don't over lean into your competence. Don't think got you, Yellow. Don't lean into thinking that you're more competent than you are. Hubris, ego. It tricks people. Uno momento. Damn. All right, got you, Yellow, got you. But yes, it can be better and I don't like to use the word humble because that's overused in a certain group too. Open. If we could be open that our knowledge is not the sum of all knowledge, we'd be okay. Yeah. Knowledge is not the whole of it all. Absolutely. Most people come in and Yella, we come in most of the time less than that. We really don't have a great knowledge. We don't really have a great knowledge base. We really don't. Most people, even above average, even intellectuals, you have a very specified zone of knowledge. It's probably we're probably all, they talk about people use 10% of their brain capacity. I know that's like it's a misnomer or a misunderstanding, but because of the willpower factor, because of retention, because of so many things, we're probably less than 10% of all the things that enter our brain. We can't retain it all. We don't have the focus. If you look at it from a natural scientific lens, everything, all the data and the stimuli that's hitting your eye, you're not processing it all. You're processing a narrow cone of it. Our minds are probably the exact same way. All the sounds that are going on around you, you're focusing in on a certain key part of it. And even then you can have a misunderstanding or mishear what you're focusing in on. Our brains are not set up to be omniscient. Apathetically apifying. I like it. Appa. And that's exactly the language I was going to use, Quantum. Because see that whole patriarchy thing and the whole white supremacy thing, they're both a matrix of a sort. They're another matrix. It's another way to view the world that's not the truest sense of the world. Learning to recode and apply the knowledge is key. Okay. Got you. It will become better after a massive purge. What's up, Yellow P? How you feeling, bro? Massive purge. Lucy movie is a good example. Absolutely. At the end and beginning of each age, we need to purge some ideas for sure.
Because the ones that are serving us. You already covered. Obviously, you already covered the patriarchy thing. I thought I heard.
Nah, I didn't even get into the patriarchy yet. I was going through like social media and like celebrity. I was getting ready to get into like celebrity worship a little bit, but we can pivot.
Oh no! Keep rolling, bro. I thought you had. Nah, man, keep going. You cooking, bro. I'm just up here with you.
Give me a second.
What up, y'all? Let me greet everybody. What up, Chad? What's going on? How everybody doing? Hope everybody enjoying the Sunday. Fresh off the gig at the crib, about to smash and take a couple shots, roll up. So keep cooking, bro.
Let me see. I think I'm gonna skip it, man. I really want to get into the pay. While I got your time, man. Bro.
Nah,
Playboy. Man. Yeah, man. Because it's a problem. Now, I know Bree might have stepped away, but I'm gonna call out Bree's name because she Bree conscious, reckless. Bree conscious and reckless. They are unwilling to move from the position that maybe our experience or our perspective is valid. And I'm like, wait a minute. If the conversation always has to be centered around the worldview that you understand, the worldview that you that the one that you're seeing. Which I'm not saying is invalid. I agreed with it last night. I know it's a thing. I just know it's the wrong. We're using the wrong word for it. I don't have the right word for it. I just know this is the wrong word for it. But the thing that they're seeing exists. But there's no practical understanding of it. And if you can't relate it to men, we can't have a practical understanding or a knowledge. So we're deprived of both the knowledge and the understanding. So why is it incumbent upon us to listen to your worldview if you can't communicate it to us in a way that we can understand? So you can't break it down to your audience in their language. Okay. Then not only can you not break it down to your audience in their language, which is already a problem with communication. We're not even gonna get into like specifics of communication. If Greek people are speaking to Chinese and they don't speak Chinese, we already got a language barrier, right? Just an abject language barrier. That's it. So if men then need to understand this concept and you can't give a practical understanding of it and the knowledge of it, and I'll say the knowledge of it, men were refusing to listen. Like Yella, you and Marcus.
Don't say y'all.
Y'all. Don't say y'all. Y'all.
I think that's where the biggest misunderstanding came from last night. At some point, if you said it, then it's established. Like, you know, I didn't have no pushback for patriarchy because I understand the concept. That's why I'm with you on what you're saying. So basically, how I put it like this: sometimes people say stuff that's 100% right. Like the words that come out of people's mouth be 100% right. It'd be one problem. It doesn't apply to the conversation. It doesn't apply to the issue at hand. Because the issue can be very specific. And the problem is that we have very specific issues that we are trying to use blanket, what's the word I'm looking for? If you got a problem, I don't know why I'm spacing right now. Damn, come on, Sean, help me out, bro. Damn.
There's a bunch of words that might fit right
I'm
there.
I'm literally spacing. Any would help right now, bro. Solution, fuck, yeah, okay, right. We got specific problems. Damn, they couldn't help me with solutions. Look, I'm counting nothing. No. But no, you know, we got very specific problems that people are trying to apply blanket solutions from. And I think that's the issue. We're just trying to apply blanket solutions. Well, if you just try this or try that. Now, I thought that was the idea of being intentional. Like, intentional is very specific to you and what you want to do. Blanket solutions. Thank you, Inya. Inya was trying. Yeah, it's like everything don't apply to everything. So that's why when I was like, then what? It's like, cool, you say approach women in a certain way that doesn't flex your patriarchy on them or whatever, that doesn't remind them that they're being daily oppressed by the patriarchy on a daily basis. Okay, cool, you try that and you still get rejected. Then what? We got to go readjust. We got to figure it out. We got to go do it. That's the issue people having. That's the issue we was having yesterday. See, everything can be solved by patriarchy or a certain specific. Everything can't be solved by a certain specific ideology. Not now. Not now. Not at this point in humanity. Not at this point in society. Not at this point in civilization. You got to be multifaceted. You got to be able to be aggressive. You got to be able to be soft. You got to be able to finesse. You got to know when to fucking push forward. You got to know when to fall back. I just seen some shit earlier today. It was like, You can't call out everything you see. Sometimes you gotta let them have it. Bro, I sat back and I had to sit back and look at myself for a minute. Like, don't call out some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but in some weird ass way, it made sense. Will I try? Maybe not. But because if I see fuck shit, I'm gonna call it out. That's 35 years of just how I am. I'm not gonna let you get over on me. So it's like I said, man, it's too many blanket solutions for very specific problems, and just repeating the same ideology is not gonna cut it.
I hear you, man, but I'm about to tell you something. You ain't gonna want to hear it, but you didn't understand the patriarchy. Like you still don't.
Bro,
like,
why didn't you? What? This is okay. Why don't you?
If you understood it, like you know how like when somebody's talking about racism, and if they say like the bootstrap thing, like, oh, you just need to work harder, and you're like, well, you obviously don't understand how racism works. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when they talked about the patriarchy, even in that specific situation, when your response is, that's a very general thing and it has nothing to do with this specific situation, then that means you didn't understand that has something to do with all the situations, even the specific ones. Because very much like racism, patriarchy is another ism without the ism attached. It's just another ism. You can look how you want, but it's the truth. But here's the thing. Now, here's where I'm gonna meet you though. You don't need to understand the patriarchy to understand how to move in a respectful and responsible way. Anybody that really wants to know what the shortcut is, anybody that you're dealing with, anybody that you're talking to, consider them a human with their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own ideas, their own lives, their own wants, their own needs. If you humanize a person, it shortcuts a lot of these isms. It cuts the legs out from a lot of the isms. Well, the ideology is a way to observe the phenomena y'all were talking about. What was the phenomenon y'all were talking about?
The phenomenon we was talking about was, it started off with, I think Logic basically was saying like approaching women, or how men approach women is part of the patriarchy. First he said approaching women is part of the patriarchy.
He had messed up my comment, because that was my comment.
Right. And then he said it's how you approach. Okay, well, cool. But at the same time, it's like this. Let me try to, I want to try to streamline what I'm saying so y'all can try to hear me. I'm going to try to put this as simple as possible. Last night, I was trying to talk about 2 + 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what everybody's solution to 2 + 2 was? Moose.
Nah, man.
So look, right. Okay, cool. The first time I was like, okay, they probably didn't understand my situation. I reiterated the fact that I'm talking about 2 + 2. Hey, okay, cool. I get moose. I understand moose. Moose is cool. Like, even I understand moose, but moose don't really apply to 2 + 2 right now. So let's talk about 2 + 2. Let's dialogue 2 + 2. Why is 2 + 2? Moose. Okay, cool. Moose. That's fine. That's basically what I'm saying. The conversation don't go nowhere unless we talking about the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you want to keep reverting back to moose every time I ask you what's 2 + 2, you're not really trying to have this conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm really trying to sit here and piece together how nobody feels like I don't know what the patriarchy is, or I don't understand the patriarchy. My thing is this: I'm right where you was at, because I said that shit last night. I said this is a human issue. So my thing is this: I've been saying that shit because I get it. That's my point. To think that the average dude is just out here unreasonable about the plight of the woman, aka it's basically what they kept screaming patriarchy for, because we really wasn't talking about patriarchy. We was talking about the plight of the woman. We was talking about women's trauma. We was talking about everything else. Patriarchy was just the umbrella solution to the minor problem.
Shoot.
What's she saying?
Because they saying moose when they answering the question. So they're giving you an answer, but you're saying they're saying moose.
They are saying moose. Moose is irrelevant. Moose can be right in any other fucking question. Name a motherfucking forest animal with horns. Moose. Name a wrestler that's in TNA Impact. Moose. Name a motherfucking, what's the nickname of Daryl? What's his name? Daryl Johnston used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Moose. Moose would apply in any other situation except for 2 + 2. Now, why would you try to make moose fit in 2 + 2 after we've already established that the conversation is 2 + 2? That's just resistance to even try to move the conversation forward, because continuing to talk about the patriarchy is just repetitively talking about the same thing. Okay, cool, we've established that. Now we just standing on the same concrete. We just standing on the same foundation. We're not building up. What's next? That's what then what means. What's next then? We've got that. But you can't keep trying to reiterate the same thing. Oh, okay, cool. What's 12 + 12? Moose. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Every time I'm trying to ask you from different angles.
Nah, man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Are you willing to accept that it's possible that you don't understand the patriarchy, or are you going to stick on I not understand and not get it?
Okay, what are we talking about the patriarchy? Are we talking about the patriarchy how you sent
the
us
word
in the? Hold on, wait, check it out. Are we talking about patriarchy how you sent us in the Discord, or are we talking about the patriarchy as was described to us last night?
Either one.
I get it as both. I understand the concept of patriarchy, and I understand the plight of the woman.
Okay.
Because that's essentially what we was talking about. That's what I'm saying. You had to understand, listen to what was said. We had to understand patriarchy because women have been through all of this shit, because they've been through harassment. They've been through being over-sexualized. They've been through uncle touching. They've been through, you know what I'm saying? All this other shit, right?
Right.
My thing is this, and let's be reasonable about it. What reasonable man ain't gonna understand that? Or is actively trying not to understand? We're not talking to the niggas that's not trying to understand it. Ain't no helping them. I'm sorry. That's my point on when I'm on my shit. I've been said that. Been established that from day one. Anybody watching my shit know what the fucking slogan is. Besides my coffee slogan, my only slogan is, I'm not here to save the fucking world.
Hey.
So respectfully, while all of that makes sense, at the core of it, it was some fuck shit.
Hey, man.
Because you can't sit up and tell me that I'm, you know what I'm saying, I don't understand what we're talking about, and I'm there. Yeah. So I don't understand what the issue is.
I'm gonna tell you how I see the issue. And again, you may not accept it, because for me, the way it sounds like you're as dug in as the other side.
No,
it sounds
I'm
like
not.
you're as
No, I'm not.
That's what allow me my experience.
Okay.
Allow me my opinion. So my opinion is, where it sounds like you're as dug in, but it's you're dug in from, I've given all the empathy that I can. What more can you ask of me? Because I understand as a human how much you've suffered. I understand that. So it's a different kind of dug in. But what they're asking for is for you to understand like words, terminology, philosophy, which for me is excessive. It's too much.
And that's all I'm saying. That's really all I'm saying, bro. That's really all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because if a man feel like he got, go ahead, bro. Because that's where I'm at. So you hit where I'm at.
This was my problem. Because this was my problem last night. they were fully willing to tell you that you needed to understand bell hooks and you needed to be able to break down like women's suffrage. Like you needed to have any conversation. You needed to have a full, exhaustive understanding with citations of patriarchy as they understood it, which is, to me, that's too much to have a conversation. What would have been reasonable was, I believe, that this situation can't be understood without understanding the patriarchy. That's fine. That's fine. But you still try to have the conversation. So like the way they were talking about patriarchy, I feel like, just my perspective again, my opinion, you don't understand it the way they were trying to convey it. But I'm also saying you don't need to, because of where you've landed in life. Life has taught you that everybody suffers. It's hard road for everybody. So you give grace to everybody on that. Anybody that's willing to meet you in a graceful space as a human, as a person, you're willing to give them that latitude, because you're like, it's hard for me. It's probably hard for you. That's just a humanist stance. You know what I'm saying? Without having some kind of grand overarching philosophy, you've landed there through experience. So you're like, through experience, if I've been able to figure out some stuff, why the hell can't y'all, with all y'all's books? With all y'all's books and y'all's authors, why can't y'all come into the same? So that was my pushback with them. Instead of trying to understand your perspective and trying to relate it in a way that you might have been willing to understand, they weren't even willing to soften up to recognize that their words were becoming trigger words. Like, so if their words are trigger words or cause people to stop listening, like pull back some. Let me see. The men are in power benefit the most. So saying the patriarchy is applied to the woman is wrong. That's why I'm saying the patriarchy is the wrong word. I've realized that and white supremacy are the wrong words.
That's all I was saying.
Those are the wrong words. Now, the way they were using it, they were describing something, with patriarchy. But I'm gonna change it. Patriarchy, white supremacy, culture. Let's just call it our culture. That's the culture we were born into. Our culture is problematic. Our culture gives us a lot of competitive advantages, but it also builds in a lot of dehumanizing traits. But that's our culture. I think people would accept culture way more than they would white supremacy or patriarchy, because what it really boils down to is our patterns of practices, our thinking. It all reinforces everything that we do, how we say things, how we do things, social media. We're reinforcing a culture that dehumanizes people, which is why I think men and women are having such a hard time, because we've fallen into the place where we're not willing to consider the other person a person. So what they actually think and feel doesn't matter. So if I hear you talking yellow and you're trying to express yourself on your platform, it would make sense for me to investigate your worldview instead of telling you that you needed to figure mine out. Like that was my problem. It's not that you don't need to figure out their worldview. It's that the starting point was on your panel, your conversation, your point. Then we need to find out where you're at first, instead of telling you to come find me. Like that was my problem with the backwardness of it all. That was my whole problem. And that's why I was like, even in the Discord when it was me, you, and Breed, I was like, nah, because your perspective, you're saying it really doesn't matter until where we started gets investigated first. You're not going to get a bunch of men. The average man, that was the whole point of contention too, the average man. The average man is not about to come and investigate feminism. There are some negative feelings around feminism with the average man. So if we can't even contend with that, and it's going to be an ultimatum for conversation that you have to understand the feminist perspective, there's never going to be a conversation. So if the conversation can't ever evolve to a place where there's mutually agreed upon language, or a different wrapping, put the same book in a different skin. We've done this so many times, but if we're so disdainful that we're unwilling to change the language for each other, then we don't deserve each other. Those are the people that deserve to die off. I mean, that's just my opinion.
You're 100% right.
If you have to use the word submissive, knowing that it's bothering somebody, like you deserve to die off. Yeah, I get you.
Okay. Let me address that and kind of combine what I was saying. Talking to a feminist is one thing, right? cool. They were talking to me too.
Right.
They was talking to me too. So when I say, hey, cool, I want to talk about this, let's talk about this, that's what we should have been talking about. Because we heard about the patriarchy for 45 minutes already. No, I can't really go on both sides.
And that's my problem. The automatic assumption.
No, hold on. And that's my problem. That's where my issue is. That's why I can't go on both sides. If you go back and watch that live, I didn't really say shit during most of that conversation. You want to know when I entered myself into the conversation? Is once he mentioned approaching women and the patriarchy. We never talked about approaching women. We couldn't get to the part about approaching women because it was too conflated with the woman's plight and not the idea of patriarchy. That's where I was trying to get the understanding from. So it wasn't both sides. I made my side perfectly clear. I don't know how much clearer I could have got. That's why I'm literally calling it 2 + 2. I asked very concise questions. I asked very specific questions. That's the whole point. That's why I get the information I get. Because I don't bullshit. I don't ask you no blanket shit. If I want to know something very specific, I ask you very specifically. So when I'm asking, then what? As in, what the fuck is going on? Then what? Because we got all that. Cool. We got the patriarchy. Then what? My issue is, look at how the whole then what situation played out. That's the real idea about how that whole conversation played out. I said 2 words. 2 words. How the fuck did those 2 words get made into all that other shit without asking me what I meant?
I wish I had a timestamp so I could just show that real quick, because that was crazy. I know a lot of people didn't see that conversation, or somebody that might be watching might not have seen that conversation, but that was interesting how that took a turn. But I want to say, I'm going to make a parallel. Yellow, and this is what I mean by it's the culture. I don't want to keep calling it the patriarchy, because the culture is that, like you said you saw on a panel, that, and it's typically put on men. You're supposed to just take it, listen to it, and not react. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to take that L, hold that L, take one for the team. That's part of our culture. Our culture is reinforcing the stereotypes that men have to be like the protector, that men should be the provider. So that when women are culturally or socially incentivized and given the opportunities that used to be exclusively in the men's domain, there's still an emphasis on the men's economic prowess, his power. He needs to get his money up. That's culture that's not catching up to societal changes. So we have these same problems happening in conversations. You're supposed to hold the L. It's on you to pursue the feminized angle. So there's a lot of problems with that. And then the assumed negative intent. If a man says it, then there was an assumed negative intent. When you said what you said, how did it automatically have a negative connotation to it? Where was the benefit of the doubt? Men in this culture.
These are the people. And these are the ones who claim to be emotionally intelligent.
Which is that's the point I came up to make. I'm so sick of if there's emotional awareness, there is emotional articulation, and then there's emotional regulation. women may be hyper aware of emotions, more so than men. Maybe. I can argue that. Maybe they articulate more than men because women just use more words, they converse, they talk a lot more than men, typically, generally speaking. But as far as regulation, nobody regulates their emotions more than men do. Because we have to always regulate our emotions because anything seen as aggressive is seen as threatening. So men go their entire lives regulating their emotion to the point that they've developed language to our ability to regulate. We suppress so much emotion that they've termed it alexithymia because we've regulated it too. We've shut it off. That's a regulation. Shutting off is regulating. It may not be the healthiest form of regulation, the holistic form of regulation, but we're regulating our emotions to such a degree that you're talking about how we're detached, devoid of emotion. So you can't say that we don't have emotional intelligence. We just don't have the most well or the most useful, the most functional version of emotional intelligence, but neither do women. Because you're aware of the emotions and then you use it to trigger people, or because you're articulate about the emotions and you talk about it a lot, that doesn't make you emotionally intelligent. That just makes you emotionally aware and emotionally articulate. But if you use that to emotionally terrorize men or other women, that's not intelligence. Mm-hmm. You're emotionally manipulative. That's a general thing among women, and most women would agree with that. But emotionally intelligent, that can't be the language that we land on. That cannot be it. I can't let that propaganda keep spinning. That's annoying. That's a personal thing. That's a pet peeve.
So, intelligence is defined as the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So, having emotional intelligence means that you should be able to be smarter about your fucking emotions, react to them better, handle them better. Because if I know I'm sad, then maybe I should stop being sad then. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm smart. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand it. Since it's like
I get what you're saying.
Right. I don't understand it. It's a crazy concept to understand. And I said it last night, like, intelligence means that you're able to basically, like you said, regulate or manage it. So why is the group of people who shames one group of people for being unable to be emotionally intelligent be the main group of people whose emotions seem to damage them on a larger scale? We're typically the ones that don't let our emotions fuck with us. I'm the exception. I said it, like they said last night, I'm an empath. Apparently I'm an empath. I've been told that several times. So apparently I'm an empath.
Hello, Sister Ma'at. Hello. It's about processing. This is where I'll say, I'm going to push back on what you said, Yellow. I'm actually going to disagree with you to a degree. Once you read the term of intelligence, intelligence does not necessarily imply a control and regulation. So I will say that the way it's been used implies the ability to control and regulate, but that's not what the word meant. It said to apply. And you can apply your emotional intelligence negatively. You can use it to manipulate. That would be like very intelligent people, like evil villains. You can use intelligence to the wrong way. So I think emotional intelligence is another word that we're using that's probably not the most precise term. We need emotional control. And I would also disagree that women men have more control there was something you said. I can't remember the exact verbiage you said.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that either. I don't think that.
There was a word you said. I can't remember what it was, but it gave the impression that men are not as impacted as women by their emotions. I think you said like the crying and all that stuff.
I said what did I say? By a group of people who say that their emotions basically can destroy their whole life, or their emotions run their whole life.
Okay, that's where I was going to push back, because men also are emotionally driven to the same degree, because like our inability to balance our emotions is what's driving so many men to like kill themselves, self-medicate. Like there's so many problems around emotions, but we can't also. I'm saying I don't want to do what I've seen done on the other side and say, oh, we've done something great. Like we're not in control of it either. Yeah, so we're not processing it.
I'm not. And check this out. I'm speaking in a specific way for a specific reason. Because you see how the conversations get hard when what you're saying is only from one side. Now I know all of this shit. Because if you know what I'm saying, y'all hear me all the time, bro. I'm an equalist. I guess you said it earlier. I'm an equalist, bro. I'm a humanist. So people is people is people is people is people. I know you've been through some shit. I've been through some shit. I ain't finna judge you because I know what the fuck I done fucking experienced. So what the fuck am I on with that? See, that's the problem. And I'm gonna call it like it is. A lot of people in this space don't know how to have conversations with people like me, who don't have an agendas, who don't want. I don't want submission, nor do I want the patriarchy to work. You can go on a girl's trip, but be careful. Motherfuckers not ready to have conversations with me. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the person that's feet are so stuck in the fucking ground. I'm really not. It might seem that way, but I'm really not. Like, let me speak honest for a second. To be straight up with you, I hate some of these conversations sometimes, man, because I hate talking social media with niggas. I hate talking internet with niggas, man. I hate talking internet with women. See, I am of the age where I was not around none of this shit when we ain't had none of this shit. And we was having these type of conversations. Motherfuckers wasn't using these fucking lame ass buzzwords or internet shit or hashtag shit to try to make their fucking point. We so caught up in buzzwords that we can't, and I get it. Somebody who tried to tell me this before, like there is no original thought. There's a genuine thought. And that's the thought that belongs to you and how you feel about it. Now, if I hear you regurgitating, bro, I wish you would have seen this chick I was watching over there on KNR the other day, bro. Just was regurgitating shit. She was like, oh yeah, I don't feel that way. I just said it because social media made me say that shit. I was punching the air.
I bet. What's up, Mrs. She said? Hello. Yeah, I think we've gotten stuck into that, man. I think, man, the social media, the influence, man, I think we've fallen under the influence of so many crazy, like a genuine thought. Our circles, I think, need to shrink. Like our brains are not meant for globalization. We can't take in concepts and ideas from everywhere. We can't compare, like comparison being the thief of joy. We can't compare our lives to a billion other people. I don't think we're set up for that. We're not evolved for that. Emotionally, we're not ready for that. And if we talked about the stuff about men have an internal locus of control, we're kind of like self-directed. So like we're disagreeable. Women have that social influence, that nature that wants to cater to the look or the gaze of other people as opposed to like themselves. Like they'll give themselves over. They say, I lost myself in this. I lost myself in that. Well, if there's that nature, then it's especially damaging for women because that attention with the negative intention behind it, that's problematic to the ability to develop healthy relationships. And everybody's suffering behind that. So, man, we definitely, I think we need to start zoning in on less. And this is my opinion. I think as individuals, we need to focus platforms more on like, and this is so weird. Even so, we need to use social media to help like undo social media. Like, I don't know the proper way to do it. Almost like a nicotine patch.
We can destroy it from the inside.
I'm just saying there needs to be like a nicotine patch. Like you're still on social media, but what you're getting, you're going to gain the ability to wean yourself off of some of the other stuff. I called it counter programming before, but I don't even know it. I just see this stuff infiltrating people's real lives, and we keep thinking it's going to stay online, but it doesn't. They adopt the thoughts. Not ready to have conversation with you guys because you're unpredictable. It's easy arguing against the 2D ideologue. You can predict every other line, but together, that's harder. What's up, Marcus? Marcus, boy, yesterday, I don't know what was going on, man. You were so defensive. That was so crazy. That was hilarious. But I know y'all were triggered. Y'all was triggered. I don't post on Facebook anymore, really, to be honest. I don't have a TikTok yet. I try getting on TikTok to do a couple of the life hack things. They don't want to have conversations with people they can't approach with the battle plan. It's like fighting an enemy without doing reconnaissance. Having more original views makes word salad hard. His feelings were hurt, which is okay because the men were called trash. Yeah.
We must destroy from the inside.
Yeah. They. And that's another thing about using a lot of like hashtags and buzzwords, man. When you use a lot of hashtags and buzzwords, a bunch of people get caught. A bunch of people get caught up. Like it's something, what's that called? Collateral damage. Because you're spraying with broad terms. You're spraying. So every time you say men, women, you people, it's a praying spray. So yeah, people were getting caught up. And it's hard to admit because you was definitely being defensive and passive aggressive. But I know it's hard for men's egos to accept when they're being called out for not anything negative. And there was definitely sign language dismissiveness. It was very interesting because they were being very dismissive while saying that men were dismissive. Like it was a mutual dismissiveness. Yeah, it was crazy. It got crazy. It was fun. It was a wild conversation, so the energy was there, but nothing was gained, and that's what I want to get away from. But we need to unpack those words. We need to use language that can be used outside. Yeah, they was going at it over the patriarchy. It got derailed, but nobody was listening. That's where it got derailed. Nobody was listening. Yeah, he was like, yeah, it was a lot of words. Now you can have the feelings. But allowing it to derail the conversation. I mean, because I've done it. You get into that group collective identity, that group ego, it starts to lack utility.
Hey, you know what it be though? All that sounds good until one person feels triggered about themselves.
Yeah, of course. Emotions.
Yeah.
I'm saying we have to regulate those. That's what I'm saying. We have to.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I can bug up if I'm talking about a group of people. Let me get pissed off about some shit about myself. Everybody look at it like I'm crazy. That's fucked up. And I ain't saying nothing about nothing. I'm just saying that'll be for anybody. So we must destroy them.
Yes, and the broadness is easy to nail for a debate, bro. It's like that. Getting y'all down in the convo is like trying to grab a seal drenched in oil with Teflon gloves on. Yeah, Bree. Yeah, she just pulls out the hammer. Bam. Yeah, Bree just pulls out the hammer. But I'm trying to tell you, man, there's something I've been noticing, man. And see, my part of dropping bars and facts. Everybody thinks they're dropping bars and facts, though, Marcus. Everybody. They thought they were dropping bars and facts. So there has to be a willing. Right. That's where the male, the patriarchy. That's where masculine culture. I gotta call it something different. Because, patriarchy is that's a tricky word there. Masculine culture. You cannot admit to having feelings or being emotional. It's looked down upon. It's frowned upon. You can't say or admit that you were triggered. I get bothered by a lot. I'm bothered all the time. I'm bothered now.
Man, look.
But it's very slight.
Yeah, I think it'd be like a game, bro. Like it'd be part ha, and it'd be part like really don't fuck with me, like for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm too chill, bro. I'm too chill. Like when it come down to it, at my base meat, like, bro, y'all, yeah, real shit, bro. Man, look. If I was that nigga, I wouldn't be as funny as I am. I'm gonna keep it a beam with you, bro. I wouldn't be as entertaining as I would be. I don't do this to be triggered all the fucking time. I do this shit to keep y'all niggas entertained and laugh. I don't do this shit to be triggered. The triggering is sometimes just be part of my gimmick, bro. It's me shooting on some wrestling shit when they pick it for real. My trigger shit sometimes be on some entertainment shit. Can I get triggered in real life? Hell yeah. But my purpose on here ain't to be triggered, nigga. My purpose on here to have some fun.
Yeah, I hear you. I would like to see people set a boundary. Like, just say, hey, can you not say that because it hurts my feelings? Right? No way. No way were you going to get the average man to say that. Now, average man, that's why I wanted to push back on you, Yella, because you kept talking about, we're not talking about these monsters. We're not talking about all these creeps. We're not talking about the crazy uncles, the touchy uncles. We're not talking about any of them. We talking about average men. What I'm saying about what they're talking about male culture, the average man, because I'm that guy. I'm the average tempered, maybe a little less. I don't know. I don't know how I want to be rated, but I know I wouldn't be the monster. The average guy has a culture that still keeps some things suppressed or unhelpful. We have some ideologies with women about women. There's some objectification. There's a lot of different things that are harmful. And I think it should be okay for women to be able to say that without us getting triggered to defend ourselves or all of mankind. It shouldn't be a thing where we can't have that conversation. So that's where I will say, on conscious and logic side and the breed side, we should also, at some point, there should be a point during that conversation, it was very one-sided, but in general, we are also going to have to learn to articulate a little differently to have the conversation, because it also can't be the inverse. It also can't be, well, we're men, y'all use too many words and buzzwords, forget all that. You just speak the way I want to speak. So there's got to be like a mutual thing. Let me catch these. Oh God, I drop bars because they're not so. Jesus.
All right.
Thank you, Greg. Shout out to Abram Preach. If a man can't say no without being pressured or put in a box for him. And see that, I'm gonna tell you, Marcus, you're not the only person that says that. And this is patriarchy. This is the patriarchy or man culture, whatever you want to call it, that resides in me. There are a few things weaker. There are a few things to me that are weaker than worrying about what somebody else thinks about my choices for who I decide to love or sleep with. Like, I can't have that much of, like, because you had a lot of pushback yesterday for who they. I don't care if anybody LGBT doesn't like the fact that I don't want to deal with anybody LGBT. Like, there's a sickness. Shout out Abram Preach. If you worry so much about how you'll be labeled, like you're socially minded, you're worried about what everybody else thinks. That's not the way I was cultured to be a man, to be overly worried about what everybody else thinks. That's typically what we attribute to the feminine mind. So I get you, but I'm just saying the way I was set up. Who I want to be with is who I want to be with, man. Forget what y'all talking about. No, I agree. Men don't do it. So such a toxic view people have about exactly. It's counterproductive. It's problematic. And it's really not genuine, because we do have feelings. We are triggered. We do care. But it's hard to articulate because of how we're cultured.
It's hard for people to accept that. I ain't trying to counter argument, because you're right. It is hard to articulate, but it's also hard for people to accept it. Because then people will give you like this idea, well, that's your problem. You got to deal with that. We got to find the middle ground on it. Because people think that it's okay to push buttons. People think it's okay to trigger now. Because of that, like I said, because of the idea of what triggering is now. It was last night. Same thing happened last night. He triggered. There's all in the comments. He triggered. Yeah. But if I tell you why, like I did last night, and it ain't honored or respected, then what? Because I was triggered for a very specific reason. And I made that clear over and over again. You've seen it play out, all that shit. And when I said something, yeah, I don't know if it was quite understood. And that's the problem. Because folks don't respect that as your boundary. That's why I'm telling you. I'm not, when I say women are habitual line crosses, men cross lines too. That's just the culture we live in. Like I say all the time, this motherfucking camera gang body, you know what I'm saying, a little hyped up about themselves. So everybody cross lines. Everybody, motherfuckers do it in the street still, but that's what the fuck it is. So the whole staying in the house don't just apply to relationships. It applies to people. Stay in the house, stay fucking with people. That's why I'm with y'all. That's why I'm here with y'all. Y'all gonna live life. Report back to me. Let me know how outside is. I get enough outside between here and work. I'm good.
Yeah, Kendra in this said she was outside, so she got to report back.
Yeah, Candy. Please tell me.
Hey, I did win $150 at this little church party. I went to church. I go to work. I church once a month for my mother. Once a month. $150. But that's outside. That's outside, man.
I blessed you with $150, brother, because you took the time to go to the house of the Lord, and you took the time to give him praise and stand before him and show him. That's a testimony right there.
I mean,
that's a testimony. Ain't that how it go? Ain't that how it's supposed to go? I don't know. I'm not exactly.
Anyway, let me answer this question, man. I probably care about my reputation, which, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. If I'm being honest with you, shouldn't make you more of a man, just different, right? What I'm saying when I said that was how I was cultured. I didn't say it was right or wrong. I just said it was how I was cultured. There are a lot of things, Marcus, and y'all did it too. Y'all had this conversation around the whooping kids. There are certain things that we are cultured to believe make somebody more or less of a man, or more or less of a woman. I've heard y'all say certain things, man. Y'all, it's not a real man. We've all used that language, so we all have different ideologies of what makes somebody qualified for manhood and womanhood. We all have that kind of culture. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying we all have different versions of that within us, and that's mine. If I went around worried about who I was with, as far as somebody that I'm not with, like if I like women and I'm with a woman and a gay man is over here and he's like, well, you didn't want to date me, I don't care. Like I couldn't force myself to care. I couldn't even force myself to bring it up in conversation as a theoretical. It's such a non-factor to me. So to me, because it's such a non-factor, and the fact that it routinely comes up from a certain sector of men, it comes across as a sickness to me. But to me, you also don't need to worry about my approval either, because I mean very little to your lived reality. That's what I mean about the social mediaification. We worry about the opinions of people that have little reach into our actual lives. We try to impress the wrong people far too often, and we carry that off the apps into our lives and then wonder why we're still dissatisfied. It doesn't make sense. Remove yourself from them from the convo if they refuse to proceed with respect to the boundary. Correct me if I'm wrong. Part of reputation is correlated with being a man or woman of your word, credibility and trustworthy. That's my point of view. It should be, but it is my contention, Marcus, that credibility and trustworthiness is no longer a factor in the way we look at people. Our politicians, our preachers, our parents, our professors, very few people are credible and trustworthy at this point. Most of them are predatory. Have you accepted that you possibly don't ever enforce your stated boundaries? Ooh, she coming back on you. Ooh. I've seen a lot of people cross lines or misinterpret or assume quickly. Remember Rashawn on a different panel a while ago? With a different panel a while ago? I don't even know what that means. We've been on so many panels for so many whiles. We stopped watching last night, but we watching it now. Yella's about to go. Yeah, Yella went off. Patriarchy. Church is what? Oh, church is what Critically Drinking calls Red Rock Casino. Hey, I'm just saying there's levels or tiers to this thing we call it. Yeah. No, and I'm just saying our thinking. Yeah, we know. We knew that was for Yella. Didn't it say that? Oh no, it didn't say that, but we knew that was for Yella. Go ahead and answer that question. She wants you to answer that.
What's that? I was doing something.
Have you accepted that you possibly don't? Yeah, that's for you.
We went through that.
She want to know again.
Can I plug other channels and put other shit on?
I do what you need to do.
No, okay, cool. No, but we was talking about this over. This was done like the Bree was doing something. We was something over there on Bree channel. I'll make sure y'all go check her out too, man. Bree, Kawhi Bree can relate. So I enforce my boundaries after the warnings. I don't know what you mean enforce my boundaries. That gets kind of yelling isn't an action. I mean, I look at boundaries different, and this is kind of where I'm like I understand I'm structured different probably than most humans. I figured that, right? So my thing is this: I enforce boundaries by giving you a warning. Because my thing is this: the only way you're gonna know it's a boundary is if you cross it. Ain't no signs on me to tell you what's wrong with me. I was using the beware of dog sign, but there's no signs on me to tell you where I'm at. Hey Bree, I guarantee you, if you go back and look last night, I tried to diffuse that situation 6 times. At least 6 times. I repeatedly said that wasn't what I said. I reinstated it again several times. So that's my thing. When I say I enforce a boundary, which means I'm telling you that you crossed the boundary. I mean, establishing the boundary. Now, enforcing it means you cross that boundary again. For me, that's pretty much what it is. So by the time I feel like I need to enforce a boundary, is by the time you've already crossed it twice. You didn't learn the first time I allowed you to cross the boundary because, like I said, I'm human, you're human. I understand people make mistakes. But the second time you knew what you was doing. The second time you chose to cross that boundary. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. The second time you intentionally crossed that boundary. Now I get this whole walk away and all that other shit. But my thing is this. You keep walking away. That walking away don't stop you from hurting. It stop you from hurting them. Motherfucking walk away enough. They're gonna walk away and they're gonna walk off and do some other shit. They're gonna walk off and hurt some innocent people. That's just me being as real as I can about it. I've offered you the opportunity to know that you have crossed the line with me. I don't just be letting people trigger me. Because y'all have only seen me on here triggered a couple times. Like life trigger, and I ain't talking about entertainment trigger. There's been a lot of times y'all have seen me on here go the fuck off and I click off this bitch and be laughing in 2 minutes. There's very few times that I done went the fuck off and then been like, man, fuck this shit. Because when I establish a boundary and you continue to cross it, you want to see what's going to happen. You want to see what's going to happen. That's all I can say. I think as far as me, I've tried walking away. Tried that a lot of times before me. Don't really have the desired results. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I don't want to have that feeling that I have to have every time I walk away. Every time.
Was that a period?
I mean, I stopped talking. Dramatic pause. And nigga, what you talking about? Clip that. I better clip that. Put that shit out there. Goddamn, clip that.
And that's what I really wish we could get to an understanding, because always trying to force it to where we're the ones, like as guys, when we're talking. I've seen it keeps coming back up. It keeps coming back up in certain conversations. Whenever it's like about men and articulating and feeling, like the way we're feeling or the way we articulate it, it always gets rejected. And it's like there's only so much of that you can take. And then when you're all, like you said, you're always constantly the one to back down, man, like because of the way we're cultured. That feels like getting sunned. That feels like getting punked. That's the way it makes us feel. And if we always got to hear you out, we always got to do it the way you say, always got to converse the way you're comfortable. Man, where's the room for us? Where's there ground for us to stand on? So I'm like, man, that's not okay. That can't be how we operate. A gift and a curse. I will always be held to a higher standard, and I accept that. That's cool. It's cool to be held to a higher standard, man. I respect the heck out of that. And I want to be held to a different standard, but there should be something that comes with that standard. That standard should come with some standing. And I think that's where a lot of times we end up failing. Like, so men are expected to uphold a standard, but at the same time, they're asked to uphold a standard or to come to the table a certain way. They're not given a seat. You know what I'm saying? Our thoughts, our feelings, our views, our opinions, the way we emote, whether we're honest about it or not, whether we're aware about it or not, man, give ground for guys to be able to say what they got to say. We got to be able to make room, man. Got to be able to make room. If everything, and I know Bruce told me they were coming from a feminist perspective, man, that cannot be the only perspective. That cannot be the only perspective.
Let's tailor this a little bit.
What's up?
We can't just let any nigga just come up and start talking. If you ask that man his opinion, shut the fuck up and listen. Try that. Don't ask him. Then he say some shit. Be like, well, why you feel that way? I mean, shit. If we gotta accept it, we gotta accept it. And that's the problem, man. Motherfucker, look, get a motherfucking story and then figure out what you want to do with it. Like, for real. Shit, fugazi. Hey, appreciate it.
And that's what I'm saying, though, truth, man. For what's being asked and expected in conversation, there's going to have to be some kind of grace given, man. There's going to have to, I'm not even going to say given. Like, this is where, like, oh, God. This is where the part of me that's, I guess, misogynistic or whatever, the part of me that's cultured, steeped in patriarchy, that part of me is like, nah, you don't got to give me grace. I'm just going to have to take it. I'm just going to have to take my ability to speak freely. And if that comes at the cost of you not being able to speak, okay. It's going to have to be bully mode. There's no way you can expect men to operate in a world where we're expected to capitulate our views and our perspective, always yield. If we're always yielding and then you want to show up in the world being able to progress and evolve That doesn't come from always constantly yielding. That mixed message has to be, that can't be what we're allowing to go across the air. That can't be what's being broadcast out. Hello, Enania. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, good luck, fellas. Y'all words and views get no respect, especially if you articulate. Yes, and that's a problem. It's a problem. Sure, we have a problem as men, tapping into, being aware of, and articulating our feelings and emotions. Sometimes just admitting to having them, that's one thing. But when we are trying, there has to be a place. There has to be room given for us to navigate that. If everybody says that men aren't aware of their emotions, men don't know how to articulate their emotions, if we fumble when we're trying to articulate, we can't be held to the precision of a surgeon. And that's what happens. That's what happened to Yella yesterday. Oh man, men aren't aware of their emotions. Men aren't articulate. They can't articulate their emotions. And then Yella stumbles over a word and says something the wrong way, where they didn't take it the right way, and then it's jumped upon. That's what happens a lot of times. I've seen it happen again in real life. The assumed negative intent. I've seen it happen in real life, where at the exact same time where you assume me as the man come with negative intent, I'm supposed to assume that you have positive intent. And of course, I want what's best for you. And you have to give me grace. And you have to give me the benefit of the doubt. Well, that needs to be reciprocal. That inequity is not something that men should allow to continue. What's up, man? Drill? How you feeling, bro? Can't talk how you want to, masculine. Can't date who you want, and you want to slave. You have, yeah. Yep. And that was my problem when we were talking about it. Because the issue is they keep saying patriarchy. And that's what I'm saying. It's not a good word. We can't keep using the word patriarchy, because what a true patriarchy means, the people that are saying the word patriarchy wouldn't have a voice. We wouldn't listen to what they said. They wouldn't have a place to say it. They'd have no standing. They wouldn't be able to work. They wouldn't be able to live. They wouldn't be safe from us if it's a real patriarchy. They do what we want because men run it and what we say goes. You can't tell me in a patriarchy that I have to examine your worldview. You don't have any worldview that I didn't give to you because I'm the man. We run things. You have to fall on that. That's what patriarchy really is. So that's what I'm saying. Patriarchy is not the right word. That's why I don't even like that. That's not a good word. It's not a good word. So what we need to have is a different understanding. One where we both need to converse with a certain level of respect and grace. Patriarchy, matriarchy, the Galactic Empire, the Sith Jedi Council. What is it? It's just no longer a word that serves us. Because most men are not one-sidedly recipients of the patriarchy. Once upon a time when women were property and couldn't own land, sure, that was probably a good word. But right now, Hey, Mika Marcel, how you doing today? Appreciate you for stopping through. Good looking out. We just went on a tangent. Yella had a stream yesterday. I started off on one topic, social media, celebrity influence. But when Yella came up, I had to ask him about the patriarchy because that conversation went left. And like Marcus said, man, y'all did come back to a respectful place, but the course of the conversation just showed me not everybody can have every conversation. Not everybody can have every conversation. And we have to learn to, I'm going to say as men, enforce our ability to be able to speak comfortably. We're going to have to just push that envelope. That's just something we're going to have to do. Because it can't continually be, you can't say what you want. I can say anything. And you got to deal with it. I can't accept that. I can't accept that. That's on gender lines, but even on like racial lines, I can't accept that like certain people can't say certain things about certain groups. You can't talk about Jewish people. Why not? Why can't we examine what goes on in their community like everybody examine what goes on in the Black community? Why not? Why can't we ask questions? I can't accept that inequity. Either I'm free or I'm not. And if somebody owns me, in my opinion, I need them to pay more. Whether that's a woman, whether it's a racial thing, whether it's a religious, I don't care who it is. They need to drop. If I'm going to be bought out, man, you better drop some money. Because you ain't about to scare me from talking about anything. I'm sick of people trying to force capitulation. I'm not going to do it willingly. Nah, we're going to have the conversation, man. As men, we're going to have to start having the conversation about whatever we decide to talk about until we get to a fair understanding within ourselves for what we need to do moving forward. And see, I hear you, but I didn't hear that from somebody watching the stream yesterday, man. I didn't hear that. I heard people talking at each other, but not looking to understand each other. That's not what I heard. But I hear you, Marcus. Yes. Absolutely. Patriarchy, man on top, benefit most. Everyone else is listening to the lead. But right, that's why I said patriarchy is not it. Because at the same time, people of a feminine mindset and mentality felt comfortable telling men that we, as men, must listen. Well, if you, as a non-man or non-male adjacent, non-male identified, as you as a non-cis hetero man, can tell cis hetero men that we have to do what you say, that's not patriarchy. So quit, don't use it again. Don't weaponize it. Yeah, that's how I felt. It wasn't an open conversation. And that's what we get. We got, as men, we're gonna have to open it up ourselves. Nobody's gonna get that to us. I made this as a joke. I said this as a joke a long time ago. But men are gonna have to embrace feminism. We're gonna have to not yell it, not that feminism. The empowerment. We're gonna have to empower ourselves to say whatever we need to say. We gotta get our voice back, man. We got to get our voice back, because there's no way, man, everybody can keep telling us we can't speak on this, that, and another, man. Why not? If Twitch ain't took me down,
I'm gonna say some shit.
Yeah,
that's the problem. I'm gonna say some shit. I don't need to be empowered. That's the problem. The argument we having is that motherfuckers don't want to shut the fuck up and listen.
Oh, shoot. No, for Rain does not have a channel. That is hilarious. Now, that's a great question. And that's what I said yesterday. I honestly, I'm going to tell you, there's two words that I think are really, there's a lot of words that are doing a lot of heavy lifting that are no longer as precise as they maybe once were. And patriarchy is one of them. I don't know what to call it other than I would call it a power vacuum, because people right now are they're fighting for power. They're fighting for the power that's been like a vacancy. There's been a vacancy posted and people are fighting for that position. Who's going to lead the household? Head of household. That's what got negated. Head of household. It was solely filled by men. Now it can be anybody. So with that power vacuum, people are fighting for head of household. Like, what's that, Big Brother? Where they be fighting for head of household? That's what's going on. People are fighting for HOH. So I don't know what to call that. I don't use patriarchy, but in the spirit of describing phenomena from different angles. What's up, Hanifa? How are you today? What's up? That's what the fuck is up. Yeah, he plugging your channel that you don't. I've never checked to see if you made content. What if Nova's been a content creator this entire time? You muted.
I say he's been stealing our shit and using it as his, repurposing it as his. You son of a bitch.
I don't know what happened to the red heart. I thought Big Brother was for money and TV fame. It is. It was. But because of the social media age, we're battling for money and TV fame on the internet. Fighting for head of household, trying to knock the other one down, trying to lift ourselves up, and whoever looks good on the internet wins. Okay, so where we at now in this convo? We have slipped over into the patriarchy conversation from yesterday on Yellows. That's where we slipped over to. I did not finish the celebrity side of it. I did a little bit of the imitation of life through social media lens, but the celebrity-centric identities, I did not do that part. We slipped when Yella came up. I had to talk about that conversation yesterday. I had to. I do repurpose the wisdom. Now I had to talk about the whole patriarchy conversation because that was wild, and again, nobody was listening. And I don't think people really investigate or care to investigate each other's perspectives. Not too often. I think it's rare. I'm learning. Yeah. Shout out to Rob. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming up and actually going into that. Tell me, we're about to switch. Hanifa, oh my gosh. Yella had a conversation on this panel with Reckless Logic and Conscious TV. And Marcus was there. And Mandrill. Logic and Marcus. Not Marcus, sorry. Forgive me, Marcus. Before I even say Logic and Conscious are members of the LGBT community or the queer community. I'm not sure what the proper terminology is. But whatever, they're part of the community. Community. And they were saying when Yella was asking some questions, they used patriarchy as the answer. So Yella's analogy was, I'm asking what 2 + 2 is, and your answer was moose.
Moose.
Yeah, so he's asking a question about, okay, so like this in a day-to-day conversation, I'm trying to approach a woman. What's the respectful or proper way to approach a woman? And they're like, well, something. The answer basically came down to this patriarchy. They didn't actually give an actionable step. And then when he said, what next? It went off the rails. It got crazy. But everything came down to the patriarchy. Everything came down to patriarchy and trauma. It was very interesting how everything went to one extreme. So that was the conversation yesterday. So I wanted to find out a little bit about Yella's, because I disagreed with Yella, but I also disagreed with them. But we just had that conversation. That's where we are now. We just finished that up. So now I'm about to ask him about something else because he started off talking about, was it Derek Jackson?
Yeah.
Did you bring up the fact that he was with another woman? Was photographed with another woman?
No.
Because you talked about the divorce, but I don't think you would have talked about I didn't know at the time that he was with some other woman. They had pictures. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, they already got caught up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't be on shit. See, look, that ain't right.
Why Yella always out here trying to funk people? Yeah, I know.
Who?
You.
Hey man, I don't be out here trying to punk people.
See, I'm sure they were great. They're great people on both sides.
See, I'm sure
they're great people on both sides.
Thanks, Anita.
All right, cool. Wait a minute, let me check. Because Bree is on, but she's supposed to be doing Okay, cool. All right, everybody, listen. I am getting ready to head on out. I thought she was going on at 5 Central, not 5 Eastern, but I do appreciate everybody that stopped by. Yella, I appreciate you coming up. I'm glad I got to chop it up with you about that patriarchy thing because I got a better understanding of where you're at. Man, I still think the way they were using the word is not the way you understand it, but I don't think that matters. Like, I don't think for practical purposes, you need an understanding of what they meant. Like, just flat out. It's like I say, I also don't think you need a practical understanding of plumbing to flush a toilet. You feel me? Like that's what I mean.
You said it. I ain't saying you said
it. That's all I'm saying. Like I think sometimes we go a little too far into trying to force people to have a full theoretical and academic workshop to understand how to move day to day. And I don't think that's practical. Yeah, so I want everybody to make sure, because Bree's doing some of the not the can't relate stuff. So let me see. What's
What's she on?
She's probably on Twitch
can't
and
relate.
YouTube. So I'm gonna put her links down here. Hopefully they pop up.
You put the link for it. Okay. If y'all on YouTube, just hit the YouTube link on. It'll take you right on over there. It'll be the same way as the raid on the Switch. So this is the YouTube raid. Y'all see the link? Hit the link. to the YouTube channel. Go over there and holler at Kawaii Bree, man. We all finna go over there right now.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, Gilly. Good looking out.
Sir.
Everybody else, man, anybody that's still here, man, please click one of those links, either the YouTube link or Twitch link to go support. Go support Bree. She's getting ready to do a conversation. It's actually about Wednesday on the Netflix show. So if you enjoy the conversations that she has about anime, dramas, television, movies, go ahead and join that now. I'm going to go support. So hopefully y'all can too. If not, I understand. I will see y'all next time. What's going on next? I won't be working. I won't be streaming on Tuesday. I will not be doing the Ism show on Tuesday because it's my mother's birthday. So I will be available for my mother's birthday. I won't be streaming. IRL, getting outside. So I won't be here Tuesday. My next legit stream may not be until sometime next week. So if you're looking for me, it may be next week. Otherwise, it'll be on Twitch. Definitely click the Twitch link if you prefer retaining your IQ. Cool. Nova. Should I try this? Nah, I'm going to try to get you your gift. It was really laggy earlier, but I'm working on it. Everybody else, man, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will check y'all next time. Peace.